I'll tell you, I'm a basketball junkie. I love college basketball, NBA, and, of course, the WNBA, and have to support our local team, which is the Las Vegas Aces. Sadly, they're not playing any local games, not to their fault of their own or anyone else's. We have a global pandemic, but, man, are they playing some great basketball right now. We're going to talk about that with not only an NBA legend and a former NBA champion. Also, he's been won championships as a coach in the WNBA, and he's doing a phenomenal job with the Aces. Let's talk with Bill Laimbeer about that. Coach Bill Laimbeer, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Actually, a little tired these days.
Coach, what is it like being in the bubble? What is it like? Can you just give us, for fans that really don't understand what you guys are doing and going through, can you describe what a normal day is like in the bubble?
Boring. There's nothing to do. Normal day would be you get up, you have breakfast. Depending on what time your practice is, if it's today was a late morning practice, 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, come back to your room, maybe have some lunch, sit in your room for the rest of the afternoon until it's dinner time, go have some dinner, and come back to your room. And, what else is there to do?
Right. I mean, that's so bizarre. That's bizarre.
There's a pool, but the players are all at the pool.
Right.
There's a golf course that's available at only certain times a day.
Yeah.
And when during the season, I don't play golf, and it's just too hectic right now. Golf takes too long.
Now,
so really, there's nothing to do except be on your computer all day long.
How do you think you would have handled this back in the days when you were playing? Would you have handled it and probably answered that question the same way?
Probably so. As a player, it's a little bit different because you're always trying to relax and take care of your body and basically just lie around most of the time, especially when you play every other day like they do right now.
Right.
So I think as a player, it's a lot easier, I believe, than it is for a staff member or a coach.
I feel for you. It's a difficult situation, but the success that you've had thus far at 10-3 is incredible. You had a huge win, of course, over Seattle. I want to ask you this: if somebody told you at the beginning of the year that you would be without Kelsey Plum and you would be without Liz Cambage, what would you have said? What would your response have been?
In this environment here, probably middle of the road. I'd have enough players who compete to make the playoffs was our goal coming into this thing.
Wow.
Which means top 8 out of 12.
Right.
So I was figuring 500 would be a good benchmark for our team coming into this, but they've stepped up and have done a very good job so far.
And so have you and your coaching staff. It's incredible. I mean, like I said, the win over Seattle. I mean, you guys are at the top of the league right now, which is unbelievable. I mean, I know you're a modest guy, but I mean, obviously you have to be very proud of what your team has been able to accomplish. So I heard about this video, Coach, but I haven't seen it. Apparently, there's a video out there of you in front of your players saying, I wasn't going to say this, but I just want to tell you guys how proud I am of you. And I guess the team kind of went a little wild. Is that out of your character to say things like that?
Yes, it is.
Tell me about
very
that.
Very much so. Are they overachieving? I don't know, but they're listening to everything that the coaching staff is telling them, and they're coming together as a team, and they're competing for each other. And so it's fun to watch. It's fun to be around a basketball team that executes the game plan. We've had our moments. We had a couple bad games, but reality says we've lost 3 games by a total of 10 points. So that's not so bad.
Right.
We could be in only 1 loss or 0 losses, but we are right now. But it's fun to be around them because they really execute.
You mentioned how there's not a lot to do during the bubble except, the players go to the pool and you can hang out on your computer. Does that make it easier, kind of a silver lining situation for the team to focus and for you to coach the team?
Yeah, I guess you could probably say yes. But it's a double-edged sword. The teams that aren't doing so well have to sit there and stew over it and every game. So you can go in either direction. Your momentum can carry you one way or the other. Right now, our momentum's carrying us forward. There are some teams here that, they can't get out of the slide and then kind of grind on them to no end because the end's in sight and the clock is ticking. And if they don't turn it around, then they're out. So it's a double-edged sword.
Coach, I don't want to make a correlation between the WNBA and the NBA, but I will say this. It appears to me, and I don't know if you'd agree with me on this or not, that when I watch some of these WNBA games, particularly the Aces games on television, These women are playing extremely hard, and I think that's so important. And you know, I don't want to speculate on this, but you know, the NBA ratings are down, and I know you don't speak for the NBA, and that's not your focus right now. But the ratings are down, and I'm watching the Lakers game the other day. And listen, some of these games are great to watch. The Dallas game yesterday was unbelievable. But with that being said, I've watched some of these Lakers games. These guys are not running back on defense. The hustle just isn't there.
Very little defense is being played.
It appears to me the quality of play in the NBA is not where it would be, which I guess you could say is understandable, but I don't really see that in the WNBA. Why do you think the NBA ratings are down, and what are your thoughts on that? Have you watched? I would imagine you don't have a lot of time to watch NBA games, but what are your thoughts on that?
I don't have a lot of time. I wouldn't watch it anyways these days.
Right.
That's just not what I do. I think the women's game compared to the men's game, women is more of a team game, a 5-on-5 basketball.
No, okay, yeah.
The men is more 2-on-2 or a 1-on-1 or a 3-on-3. A lot of pick and rolls, a lot of individual isolation game. And that's kind of where the game's involved on the men's side because the court has shrunk. The players are bigger, faster, stronger, and the court remains the same. So there really isn't a whole lot of movement out there to be had. Mm-hmm. So that's why you see a lot of one-on-ones and individual drives using their athleticism. Where in the women's league, it's 5-on-5 basketball still, and it's a better game to coach.
What is it like coaching a game with no fans in the stands?
It is bizarre at times, especially during a free throw when there's no noise. And during timeouts, you know, it's bizarre. It's just strange. You can't get emotional runs where the fans feel an emotional run from a team. They can run off, 6, 8, 10, 12 points and turn the course of the game by the fans. This is just to throw the ball up in a vacuum and see who wins. So I think that's the piece that's missing is the emotional part of having. They can supply their own emotion, but it's not the same as having the fans feel a great run.
Sure. Coach, you've always been an opinionated guy, so I want to ask you this question. You're always pretty open and honest. What do you make of these Black Lives Matter signs, WNBA, NBA, and of course, the back of the jerseys, so on and so forth? What do you make of that? I mean, there are people that agree with it. There are some people that disagree with it. I always wanted to ask you that question. What do you make of this era and what's going on with these signs?
It's the players' game. When I was a player, I had a conversation with a sportscaster. I was playing. It was the ownership was all dominant, and the franchise is all dominant. In today's world, the players are all dominant, and so they control the game. They're the stars. They're the ones that people want to listen to and understand what's happening. So they control the narrative, and rightfully so. And so they're the ones and coaches and staff like myself and we are very supportive of anything that they're doing and they want. And that's how this business works now compared to the past.
Speaking of owners, Kelly Lefler, who's a sitting United States senator, obviously, and I believe she owns the Atlanta team, or she's a partial owner in that team. She made a couple of statements that she basically said that Black Lives Matter should not be on the court. It should be integrated because it is polarizing and it may detract people from watching the sport, which I actually agree with. I think that the NBA or the WNBA it doesn't have a concrete fan base, kind of like the NBA does. Do you think that she was out of line by making that statement?
Yeah, I don't get into politics and things like that. I learned a long time ago that, it's a no-win situation any way you look, shape, or form. So, everybody's entitled to an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own say. But at the end of the day, it's about the players. And the players are the ones that matter. And they're the ones that will support.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Now, there have been no issues in the WNBA as far as a player leaving the bubble and going somewhere. As you know, Coach, there have been a few stories in the NBA where we had Williams who went to a strip club and said he just liked the wings. I mean, it just seems like everything is under control in the WNBA. What would you make of it? Like if one of your teammates back in the day or even somebody on the Aces, which I don't think would ever happen, but if it did, somebody left the bubble and did something irresponsible like that, how would you handle something like that? And does it surprise you that we've seen, one or two NBA players that have done that?
Well, there are disciplinary factors in that. You leave, you get penalized, and it costs you money. And more importantly, it costs the team your services for X amount of games. Mm-hmm. So each individual and each team has to police themselves. In our world here in the Ladies League, it really is a non-issue. We're pretty closeted in an environment where on a campus, And there's really nothing around here to walk out the door to go do. There's no transportation. But I don't see that happening here. I was surprised, actually, in the men's side, a couple incidents happened because it just puts a black eye on not only themselves but also their team. So it's not happening here, and I don't expect it to happen here at all.
Sure. I guess this would be my question to you, to talk to some of the Aces fans here in Las Vegas. I, for one, am a fan as well, and it's so disappointing that we can't watch you play these games and coach over there on the sidelines at Mandalay Bay, because those games are so much fun to watch. I really enjoy going to the games, and I know I speak for many. Well, it's the truth, and I know I speak for many others as well. The games are a great family atmosphere. The quality of basketball is really good, and it's always fun, Coach, to watch you on the sidelines going crazy at times. I'm not going to lie. It is enjoyable. It is enjoyable to see Bill Laimbeer up there. It is also entertaining. But with that being said, Coach, the fact that you guys are playing such great basketball right now, and not to say you haven't played great basketball in the last few years, but you guys are 10-3. You just spanked Seattle. What would you say to the fans out there that they're watching it on TV? And yes, it's better than nothing. You want to be able to root on your team and watch it on TV. Same thing with the Vegas Golden Knights. And I would ask that coach the same question. What would you say to the fans out there that are kind of so bummed out that you guys are playing so well and they just can't watch these games live? What would you say to them?
It is what it is, and just trying to understand who we are as a basketball team, and especially going forward for next year when we come back to that environment, especially where we'll have Liz Cambage back, we'll have Kelsey Plum back, and seeing how the nucleus of our team from where we are now to what our future holds, especially in the near future, is phenomenal. So I guess anticipation of what is to come would be one of the things that I would tell our fans, as well as enjoy the moment. It is what it is, but I know you can't be there, but still enjoy the moment and watch our team play.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the great start. I have no doubt that it'll continue. Right now, you guys are 10-3, off to a wonderful start, 13 games in, and always appreciate your time, Coach, when you take the time to come on the Vegas Take. Thank you so much, and we wish you good luck rest of the way, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time.
All right.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Coach.